Welcome back, everybody, to Tuesday Night Hype 55. We are now in the final between Neobility and Fluffystuff. Just want to apologize real quick for my mic not working. I assume it's my bad. I'll figure out why later, but sorry about leaving you guys with just Ray, although he did a fine job. I'm sure he's probably better anyway. How are you doing, Ray? You excited for the final?
Oh man, that was a quick game. A quick set of games by Neobility. I'm pretty excited to see how this matchup plays out because I believe Fluffystuff also was able to 3-0 her opponent in top 4 as well. So they both had really impressive games so far. And man, it's going to be an epic finals for Tuesday Night Hype number 55.
Yeah, Neo is, like you mentioned, he's very, very good at the game. And I don't actually know how often he plays in these things, because I think it's the first time I've seen him in, like, the top 4 in a while, but he's doing very well. I don't think I've seen him make a mistake, and he's played, like, 3 games on stream now.
Neobility actually plays quite consistently in these cups. I believe he's ranked number 2 or 3 on Strivewire for their ELO system right now.
Jeez.
Yeah. So his win rate is very good. ELO system is basically goes off your win rate, not like how much you play and how much your wins are. It's basically your win percentage that determines how high you are.
Yeah. Speaking of ELO, who's number 1? Are you still number 1 on the ELO ladder?
Yeah, I'm number 1 by like a lot. But I got pretty lucky. I think I'm on like a 50-game win streak or something.
Jeez. Yeah, but if you look at like the players up at the top of the ELO like ratings, they're all very good. You're very good. Neo's very good.
Yeah, I believe Cross is like number 2 as well, the Japanese player.
And yeah, he was the first person to legend this season in NA. So
yeah, that dude is insane. He does not sleep until he gets legend on the first day, almost every single month. And I do not know how those people do it. It's crazy.
I have no idea, especially on the new year. That's some dedication to Hearthstone right there. First day of the year, and you're grinding out the ladder.
Yeah, I think it's actually easier for him because he's Japanese. That I don't know if it was actually like the time that you would normally party on New Year's, or it might even been the day after for his time.
Yeah, that's
so he's
true.
From Japan, but I'm not really sure what the time difference is.
Regardless, it's still impressive to get legend. I think
yeah.
He said he did it in 14 hours, which I've played a lot more than 14 hours this season, and I'm not legend, so
yeah,
it's much better than me.
Either way, I think that they're just getting their bans done, and not really sure what they're doing just yet, or how close they are to actually starting the game. But I imagine we'll see a similar lineup to what they were playing previously. None of them are really changing up their lineups in between sets.
No, it doesn't look like Neo changed anything. The only difference is that his Paladin is banned, so he's going to get to play his Warlock now. I believe his Warlock was banned last time. Yeah.
Yep. But now both of them actually have information on each other. I think they've both been checking out the stream, scouting out their opponent.
It makes sense. If you've played on stream, you're at a disadvantage if you're not checking out your opponent's lineup. So.
Oh, for sure. That's like a very controversial, I would say, thing, is whether it's like socially acceptable to change your lineup. But I think you have to if you want to maintain your competitive edge, or at least scout out your opponent. Because if you don't, they're probably doing it to you. So, definitely what you got to do. And it looks like they got into the game, and it's going to be Grim Patron against Tempo Mage, which I'm not sure how this match. I haven't played this matchup too much, but I think it's Patron favored if Neobility is able to get patrons on 5. And with this hand, if he gets an Inner Rage, this hand is actually the nuts, and he'll be able to make 4 patrons on turn 5.
Yeah, that's the dream, is patron, right? Is just get in there with patrons early and then just use them to trade and continue to build up a big patron board that just never gets cleared.
Yep. And it looks like Neobility decides to keep his whole hand, and I think Fluffystuff did as well. I don't think there was any mulligans.
No, for some reason I'm getting a spectator error where I can't actually see Fluffystuff's hand, so.
Alright, well, Fluffystuff's hand is Portal, Sorcerer's Apprentice, Shredder, Flamewaker, Coin. It's a really strong hand. Neobility also has a really strong hand. So we'll just see how this game plays out. And Fluffystuff opts to go for Sorcerer's Apprentice on turn 2, and Neobility is able to answer that with a Slam. And Fluffystuff does have a really nice follow-up off the top in Spellslinger, so she doesn't have to burn her coin to play Pilot Shredder. She'll be able to save that for Flamewaker, and oh my god, both players get kind of awkward cards off of the Spellslinger. Fluffystuff gets an absolutely useless card. I don't. 1/1 weapon's actually not horrible, especially when you combo with Flamewaker, but Neobility gets to Conceal.
I think
And
that
I'm not.
conceal might be somewhat useful with patrons, right?
Yeah, it's definitely useful. You can play a Patron on 6 and just Conceal it, but with cards like Flame Cannon in the hand of Fluffystuff, I don't know how good it's actually going to be. But it's definitely not the worst card you can get. That's for sure.
No, Fluffystuff looks like if I were her, I'd definitely just go into the Loatheb here. Maybe you can stave off the patron wave for another turn.
Yeah, but it is really, really enticing to just want to play your Flamewaker, play your coin, play your Unsable Portal, and play your upgrade, and just do a bunch of damage to your opponent while clearing their minion, hopefully.
I mean, you should hit one of these juggles at some point, right?
Yeah, and ooh, that was that was a horrible Unsable Portal card, Stone Tusk Boar. That is not what you want to see, but the Flamewaker missiles are able to clear off the Cruel Taskmaster while also providing a weapon. It's going to go face, but Neobility is just going to be able to make patrons here and clear the board.
Yeah, Neo's in a super good spot here. Flame Cannon and Fireball can clear off 2 patrons, but
Yeah, it's not looking good for Fluffystuff. And ooh, that Fireball could be huge if Neo does not make more patrons after this turn, because if the 3/2 lives, it's going to be a 50-50 on the Flame Cannon, but if the 3/2 ends up living, the Whirlwind won't really make more patrons that are healthy, so the Fireball will be able to clear them on the next turn. And she opts to go with neither of those routes and just plays Azure Drake and plays the board and clears off the 3/1, and now I think you just immediately lose to this Whirlwind.
yeah, I think you have to clear patrons when they come on the board. Get this stream right back into it. Spectator has not been friendly to me today at all, so my apologies for that as well.
Yeah, and Neobility is just going to go with Loatheb Armor Smith, which is a really strong play, but it's kind of risky because your opponent gets to hit you in the face for 4, and with the double Fireball in hand, she only needs like a Frostbolt or something to be able to end up winning, but the Armor Smith is going to gain way too much armor, and the second Armor Smith in hand from Neobility is just going to prevent that completely. But from Fluffystuff's point of view, you're like, oh my god, he gave me like a small chance to come back into the game because I can just hit my Azure Drake into the face or into the Armor Smith and maybe have enough burn to win the game. But with the second Armor Smith and the Whirlwind, and that's just not the case. Neobility is just going to crush her dreams.
Yeah, he even has the execute to clean up the Dr. Boom, although 14 plus 2, he's still 5 off lethal even with the NRH pickup. So you can Armor Smith, Whirlwind, execute, and then you can even conceal your board just to make sure you have lethal next turn if you really want to.
Oh man, that's crazy. Like, that's just the only way you can interact with that is Flame Strike. But I don't think that's played in Fluffystuff's deck.
No, we've seen a couple Tempo Mages today. We've seen 0 Flame Strikes in those Tempo Mages, so I'd be really surprised to see that change here.
Yeah, and this looks like a checkmate scenario where there's absolutely no way to win unless both of these Boombots hit face for 4. But even then, I don't think that's enough.
I don't even think that's enough.
Yeah, I don't think that's enough, no. Yeah, it wasn't enough because the armor gain was just too much.
Yeah, he's sitting almost at full health, basically. And I wonder if he's even going to bother to play the Conceal. I definitely would for style points, but he's just going to pass on that.
I don't really see a reason to or to not. Like, if you do it, then you like Flame Strike does the same thing. I think Flame Strike's just the only way that Fluffystuff is ever coming back onto this board.
Oh, I would definitely agree.
Not doing it, actually, oh wow.
Yeah, he's going to get most of his stuff cleared off here, it looks like, and he actually won't have lethal. So maybe a misplay, I guess, not to play the Conceal?
I don't know, like, he must have had a reasoning to not do it, but...
I mean, he can do it, again, he can do it here and still win the game, so...
Yeah, for sure. It's not really a huge deal. I'm just curious why not. But either way, it doesn't matter. Neobility's board is almost unbeatable at this point. And Fluffystuff ends up conceding game 1, and Neobility is going to be up 1-0 in the grand finals of Tuesday Night Height number 55.
Yeah, he gets a pretty convincing win there, I think. We've seen a lot of scenarios today where a Tempo Mage might have had a chance against Patron with a Flame Strike. Do you think it's worth maybe playing one Flame Strike in a Tempo Mage deck like that?
It's very metagame dependent. In a tournament metagame, generally I don't like it because there's a lot of like Reno lock and stuff like that it's just like subpar against. But having known Neobility's lineup, it might have been correct to play. But either way, it's definitely not right or wrong to do it either way.
I mean, you definitely can. Like, you're allowed to go in between games and maybe change cards. So...
Yeah, but she's been playing this list the whole tournament. She's gotten this far. Why change it up?
Yeah, I guess so. You don't want to make some, like, risky tech changes and then have them not pay off and lose the series. That would feel even worse.
Yep, and Neobility, let's see what he goes with here. He's up 1-0. He did take a favorable matchup, so Fluffystuff not going to feel too bad about losing that one. Like, you were unfavored anyways. And Neobility opts to go with his what looks like Reno lock.
Yeah, I don't know if we've actually seen this deck yet, even though he's played on stream twice. I think it's been banned both times.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what version of Reno lock it is, but it may be the combo lock with what's in his hand. And, ooh, anti-healbot. That's a good one to get against Mage.
Yeah, they don't have... Tempo Mage doesn't have a ton of damage, so, like, anti-healbot Reno really good in this matchup, I think.
Yeah, it'll get you out of their reach. And Dark Bomb is going to be a perfect answer to this Mana Worm. And Fluffystuff opts to just Arcane Missiles, and that's going to pay off really well if she can get the kill on the Zombie Chow.
Close, but not quite. And because we see Neo pick up a Faceless Manipulator there, that does mean that he is, in fact, the combo deck.
This is probably something similar to what I've been playing, and I really like it.
What do you think the advantages of like playing this deck are over, say, just traditional Reno lock?
You beat other Reno decks.
Is that the one big advantage?
Whether he's playing Arcane Golem or Leroy Jenkins, both versions will beat other Reno decks. Yeah. Or other Control Warlock decks. So if he ends up queuing into like Handlock or something, the combo will definitely help him push for lethal when nobody expects it. And here we just see Neo get an Imp Gang boss on the field, really strong, and Fluffystuff has to just ping the Zombie Chow, which is why I thought it was kind of awkward to play the Arcane Missiles when she did. Because if you don't hit all three missiles, you lock yourself into pinging that Zombie Chow to kill it, and that just feels really, really awkward.
Yeah, it was just an inefficient turn as a whole there.
And here Neobility wants to get the Mirror Entity out of the way and just give her the Acidic Swamp Ooze, which is only a 3-2. It's not hugely impactful on this board, and now we won't have to worry about giving her something like a Shredder. And she does have a Frostbolt to help deal with this board, but I don't know how good it will be. You have to get kind of lucky. I think you have to Frostbolt the Imp Gang boss, and after trading the Swamp Ooze into the other Swamp Ooze, and just hope that you're able to clear off the 1/1s.
Yeah, you have to have both pings. You're right. If you miss both, it dies to Demon Wrath. Otherwise, I don't really see an answer for Neobility.
And, ooh, she's able to snipe both of the imps off. And we do see Leroy Jenkins come out. So this is the Leroy build. I don't know if it's the list that VLPS plays with the Mind Control tech, or if it's the one that I've been playing with just the Swamp Ooze and the other standard VLPS variant.
Yeah, I think Swamp Ooze is definitely a better call in the meta right now. Like, if you don't have Swamp Ooze, sometimes you just lose to aggro Shaman for free, and I don't think Mind Control tech gets value a whole lot.
No, VLPS actually plays both right now, I believe.
I guess that makes sense. I don't really know how I feel about MC Tech as a card. I feel like a lot of the time, like, you'll take one minion, but you'll still want to clear their board after. And in a deck like Warlock, where your board clear also damages your own board, it's maybe not the most efficient.
Ooh, that's a really... I don't know. That's not horrible, because you have the Demon Wrath, and you have, like, potential ways to just clear off your own egg. And, ooh, yeah, if he had one more mana, he'd be able to Hellfire Demon Wrath to clear the board and give himself a 4-2. But here in this situation, what do you think you do?
Maybe just Healbot and do that next turn. You don't really have any other appetizing plays. If you tap, it makes your mana really awkward. You don't have anything you can really play after the tap. You could tap Demon Wrath and like just hope your egg deals with the Flame Wakers, but I just like this.
Yeah, this is really solid because your opponent doesn't really want to play spells at risk of killing off the egg. She might end up having to pop the egg and then Flame Strike, which or not Flame Strike, Flame Cannon, which I actually like a lot because then you don't have to worry about your missiles just clearing the egg and just it being awkward to deal with. If you just clear it now, it makes this turn a lot better for you.
Yeah, it's not where you wanted the Flame Cannon to go because it's less likely that the jugglers kill this, but he gets enough hits to where he only has to trade in one, and he's gonna make Neo's next turn awkward as well.
She.
Oh, my apologies once again.
Either way, I don't think it really matters. The board's gonna get Demon Wrath Hellfired. Either way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Neo really wishes he still had that egg, because that would be a huge swing, where this is just kind of like evening out the board again. Fluffy is gonna get to play your Dr. Boom here onto an empty board.
Yeah, but this is actually not looking bad for Neobility since he has the answer, and he could even faceless the Dr. Boom before he does that just to get a board, which is likely what he's going to go for. Like, in matchups like this, or I guess just most aggro matchups, you don't really need the Leroy faceless combo to kill. You just kind of want to not lose board.
Yeah, and being able to, like, Leroy PO for 10 isn't bad as a finisher as well. Like, it's not the faceless double PO, like, 24 damage Dream combo, but it's still decent.
Yep, and we're going to see a Fireball and either a Boombot hit or a Ping come in here. And
basically depends how that goes.
Yeah, I like this. You just play your Mirror Entity, you kind of make your opponent's turn awkward. If Neobility doesn't draw a low-impact creature, he can't really play Boom this turn.
Do you hand over a Twilight Drake, maybe? He's hovering the Siphon Soul, but I don't think that's happening.
I think you tap and just see what's up, and you end up drawing the Owl, which is the perfect draw for you in this scenario. The only thing better could have been a Zombie Chow, but that was used earlier in this game, I believe, so...
Yeah, he played the Zombie Chow, I think, on turn 1, so...
Yeah,
this is about as good as he could have hoped for.
Owl and Dark Peddler are the best card you could have gotten there. And now we see Fluffystuff is in a board lead to some degree. Oh. But Neobility is definitely stabilizing.
Yeah, he has used 2 of his 3 board clears, or he has Shadow Flame and Twisting Nether left as a method to clear the board, and when this Implosion comes down, Fluffy's going to have a lot of stuff on her side of the board again, so...
Yeah, Neobility's going to be looking for something like a Shadow Flame, maybe.
Ooh,
that's rough, but she's still able to clear it off with a Ping and go face for 3. But that Lightning Bolt is so helpful.
Yeah, it's going to clean up the Mana Worm pretty nicely, I think, and then you can coil off one of the 1/1s and play Boom. That feels like a pretty good turn.
Yeah, you know your opponent can only ever top deck Fireball, so you know like has the most burst damage, so you know what her potential damage max is, and you can play around dying that way. So there's no way that Fluffystuff will ever have lethal here unless she plays Pyroblast.
Arcane Elect into Fireball Frostbolt maybe would have been enough.
Actually, can Unstable Portal get anything that will give lethal, like Abusive Sergeant?
Korkron Elite is a 1-mana 4/3 with charge.
That is a card, although...
I honestly don't even know what the cards that it gives are.
I think one of them is like summon 4 Murlocs, one of them is like deal 4 damage, and one of them is like draw cards or something like that. Not 100% sure, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It does give it it is a symmetrical effect, and I think, I mean, it probably benefits Fluffy at the moment more because she doesn't really have anything else to play, where Neobility is full of options.
Oh yeah, Neobility is pretty much only looking for Reno Jackson right now. I definitely like this tap because your opponent can't Fireball you to death and ping you this turn, so you're pretty safe. You just have to find Reno.
Well, you've already seen both Fireballs as well, so...
Yeah. Or, let's see.
Rag.
Okay. So this game's a 50-50 right now. Wait, no!
No! You play the Rag and ping the 2/1 every time, right?
Yeah. Now your opponent has an out to draw. It's
still a 1-3 to win the game.
Oh, yeah. It's still a 1-3, and the Lothab ends up going down here. But if Neobility is able to clear this Rag with Siphon Soul,
Yeah, I mean you
And
can
I
Siphon
don't
Soul and he got the 4
or
damage
twisting
Murloc.
another. Actually, hold on. Would you? Yeah. Okay. So you have the deal 4 damage, draw a card. So you're gonna do that, and then Siphon Soul, and then hit. And he does play the Mind Control tech, so he's probably playing VLPS's list. Pretty standard combo Reno lock, if that's what we call standard. And this card, I am Murloc. I feel like we got to get that song going now. Summon 3, 4, or 5/1/1 Murlocs. Okay.
It's like a implosion that doesn't deal any damage,
Oh
essentially.
my gosh, this combo is insane. You play Leroy, and then you play Mind Control tech, and you steal the Loatheb. Oh
Oh,
my
he is
god.
actually going to play Leroy.
Yeah, you definitely got to play Leroy. Otherwise, your opponent, I believe, has lethal on board with like
Um,
the 4 damage Murloc card.
yeah, I guess you kind of have to play around all of the ETC cards if you can.
I think there's only 3 or 4 of them, so it's like really high likely that it's going to be one that actually does something really relevant. And
Yeah, it's not going to.
oh, that's the worst outcome.
Yeah,
Three,
I don't.
4, or 5. It's like an implosion that doesn't do damage.
I don't think it's super relevant here since Mind Control tech's on the board. I wonder if you implosion and then maybe Shadow Flame a imp instead of. I guess you can
No.
actually grab something here with your MC text. You should probably take that while you can.
Yeah, because you have a chance of taking the Apprentice, which gives you a board afterwards, because you can just Shadow Flame the Mind Control deck or the Apprentice, and Fluffystuff's in top deck mode, but she gets a really strong.
That might let her like push for a surprise lethal next turn if
I
Neo
mean,
doesn't find a way to heal.
and I think it will. Like,
Ooh, he
Neo
does
has
get the
to Twisting
Farseer
Nether.
off the top.
Okay, so if Fluffystuff draws any burn, and Neo just ends up Farseering and playing Emperor Thorson, the game will be over.
Do you have to just Twisting Nether here as Neobility? Is it just way too scary to leave this minion on board? Doesn't look like you think so.
You know his or her only burn is Frostbolt left in the deck, so it's not that scary.
Yeah, I think there's only one left as well.
Yeah, there's only one Frostbolt left,
Some more portal shenanigans.
so your opponent's reach is very limited right now. And ooh, that's a 6/6, I believe, that gives you armor, or whenever you gain armor, gains attack.
So
So
it's a 5/5.
oh, it's a 5/5. Okay, slightly less impactful. Either way, though, it's a solid creature. Definitely not the worst thing in the world.
Do you have to
don't-
go face here and just hope to top deck into a Frostbolt? Like, change it into a 7/5 and go face?
You can play the board control game, honestly. Since you have a 5/5, you can hope your opponent doesn't have Twisting Nether or something.
Yeah, we are going to see Twisting Nether Dark Peddler here, I would think.
Yeah, Twisting Nether is the only AoE left in Neo's deck, but at the same time, you have 4 cards in deck, so you have a 25% chance of getting Frostbolt, and your opponent only has 3 cards in deck, so he actually has a really high chance of having the Twisting Nether or the Reno, and both of them are horrible for you. So I think that the play there might just be to go for the reversing switch, put your opponent to like 3, and then force him to have Reno or lose to a Frostbolt.
Yeah, I guess that play plays around Reno slightly more, where the other play plays around Twisting Nether, right?
Yeah, they're both. It's a crapshoot, honestly. Like you don't know. I don't know if one's better to play around than the other, but they both play around one thing.
It looks like Neo elected not to Twisting Nether there, though. Corruption's not
Wait,
horrible, I guess, but
so you give your opponent no, this is fine, because Frostbolt still doesn't kill you.
yeah. And I mean, you're pretty sure you're going to draw, like, you're 1 and 3 to draw Reno next turn.
Yeah, the only thing that you risk is your opponent having the plus attack damage spare part that could come off the Death Rattle. And I don't really like trading, just because you have to win the game. But
Yeah,
at the
I
same
think face ping, it sets up for Frostbolt ping lethal next turn, right?
Yes, but at the same time, Neobility has 3 cards in deck. One of them is Reno, and
Oh.
Okay, Alex Straza, that is a good one. I think you just Alex your face here, but your opponent has 3 cards in deck, so you might think that if I can deal with the 3 cards my opponent has plus their board, and I am able to live with a creature, I could just win because of that. Just
Yeah,
by having the creature.
this
doing
isn't a
repetitive
match that
damage.
goes to fatigue very often, but it looks like it might. And he's actually going to get really aggressive with that Alex Raza and just throw it across the other side.
I actually like this because you know your opponent only has like 1 spare part card in their hand, and the max damage they could do is like a Frostbolt if they haven't. and maybe an Arcane Blast going through to phase. So like, there's no way you die here. So I like the aggressive Alexstrasza.
Pretty good arcane missiles, though.
Oh yeah, that's definitely good. And now you're in a really weird spot. But I'm assuming, okay, there's no way he doesn't have Reno, right? Like, you just tap into Reno.
There's no way you play 31 ofs and one of them isn't Reno. That doesn't make any
like,
sense.
Reno is the very last card in his deck. So I think he's just going to tap into Reno and go face, which is going to be a guaranteed win.
Yep, that should seal it out for Neo. That was a tight one there.
Yeah. As Neo, I'd be like, oh crap. Did I forget the Reno?
Yeah, that's really scary to draw 29 cards and have one of them not be Reno. And to have Alex as the 29th as well as your other like life gain tool.
Yeah, I think the game literally just came down to not paying the Abusive Sergeant and taking the 50-50.
Yeah, I think that was... I mean, that was definitely a position where Fluffystuff could have just won the game there. And she elected to play ETC instead. I don't know. I don't agree with it.
It's fine. There's merits to both plays. Either way, Neobility is up 2-0 now, and he only has to win with his Paladin?
His Paladin was banned, actually, so he's going to have to win with his Druid here.
His Druid? Okay. So he only has to win with his Druid now, and Fluffystuff's just going to continue playing Mage, and... I mean, you have to win with all three of your decks, so it doesn't really matter what you play, but Neobility is going to have Wild Growth, and that's just... The Druid's going to do Druid things this game, and Tempo Mage is going to have to do Tempo Mage things. And did Fluffystuff keep Mirror Entity?
I think she did.
It might be a spectator bug, because sometimes you can't see what your opponent, or what people mulligan in spectator mode. But,
so maybe she mulliganed into it. But
yeah, I mean, she might have mulliganed into it.
I mean, Mirror Entity is a decent card against Druid, but I still think it's so much better when you pulled off Scientist.
Yeah, it's definitely never right to keep Mirror Entity, especially with stuff like this. You draw your second one, now your hand's just super clunky, and you get punished whenever you draw Mad Scientist because it's just a 2/2.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure. I mean, I guess if she had like played Mirror Entity next turn and picked up a free Shredder, then it would look genius, but I don't think that ever happens.
And we just see the very aggressive Arcane Missiles to face.
Yeah.
For 3, she just wants to end this game one way or another. Either she's winning or he's winning.
Yeah, this game's going to be over in 5 minutes, regardless of who ends up winning. That's what it looks like.
Yeah,
I think you save missiles for a Shade, right?
You also play Flame Waker in your deck.
Yeah.
So let's just continue. Let's move on. Neo has had the perfect answer for the thing. Keeper's also a really strong answer to Mirror Entity. People are cutting Darnassus, so Mirror Entity gets even stronger against Druid, but giving them a Keeper of the Grove isn't horrible. I think Neo's just going to probably go face here because he has no efficient trades. He might trade into the Keeper to make it easier to kill on the following turn, and that's what he goes for. I like this. You kind of want to play defensive. Your opponent did Arcane Missiles you for 3 damage to the face. You're definitely playing defensive here.
Yeah, second Mirror Entity might get some value here, though. I guess you could still just play the Drake into it and maybe kill it on board.
Now, I just don't see a reason to play Arcane Missiles or the coin or anything like that here, because your only way to ever get back board from this point on, because you have to assume your opponent has pretty decent minions, is to like have Flame Waker do some Flame Waker things. And if you're trading as the aggressive deck against a Druid, I don't know, it just always seems like you're in a rough spot.
Yeah, you've only done 8 damage to him so far. And like ideally I think as Tempo Mage in the early game you want to get him down to like 12 or less or something like that so you can threaten double Fireball every turn. And just make them play super defensively, but I don't think that's ever going to be the case this game.
No, and Loot Hoarder is a really strong card off of the Piloted Shredder here. And I don't know, I think she's going to end up trading to avoid hero power doing too much damage, but if she goes face, she's just like switching between strategies. Like, because she traded before after Arcane Blasting for face for 3, so it's just like you keep intertrading strategies. It gets kind of confusing on what your actual game plan is.
Yeah, I'm not really sure either at this point. Neo is just gonna play Drew to the or Ancient Allure on 7. That's
Yeah, draw
always
2 cards. At this point, you're kind of like feeling pretty good as Neo. You just got an Ancient of Lore that you drew 2 cards on turn 7. You're only at 22, which actually isn't that horrible. Like, some of the time against Tempo Mage, like the game, you've already lost the game at this point. And she traded again.
What is that?
To guarantee. No, she traded to guarantee the Flame Cannon.
Yeah. How do you feel about Arcane Missiles there instead?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think I would have Arcane Missiles and tried to do it that way because it also allows you to potentially not even have to ping. But now she kind of gets rewarded for not doing it. You're able to Flame Waker and do Arcane Missiles. The Dread Scale is definitely not doing you any favors, though.
I think you Arcane Missiles first here, though, because it just...
Oh, no.
Because if the
you did an
Flame Waker
attack
dies,
with the Flame... Oh, geez, this is going to be really bad if...
Ooh.
That was really, really risky. If your mirror... If your Mana Worm dies because of a Boombot, you just lose immediately there. The game's actually over.
Interesting. I guess Dreadscale might get some value here if this Boombot can go face and maybe not.
Yep, and ooh, that Boombot takes out the Dreadscale. That Boombot was not happy.
No, Neo's going to be able to get himself out on board here. I think Azure Drake swipe unless he picks up a Wrath.
Oh my god. If he picks up Innervate, he has lethal next turn. And even if he doesn't, he has lethal in 2 turns, and I don't think there's any way Fluffystuff can stop it unless she, like, plays the Loatheb here and is able to win in a few turns. So I think the play is to play Spellslinger, see what you get, and then play Loatheb and just try to kill your opponent.
Battle Rage is not going to do it, yeah. I guess you Loatheb here. Maybe he can't remove one of your minions. You find another Fireball or something and end the game that way.
And oh my god, that is the perfect top deck.
Oh boy.
And Fluffystuff is kind of getting punished here for just not being aggressive enough.
I mean, she still does have an out, right? Is Fireball lethal here off the top?
No. No, because you can't ping, right? Your opponent's at 19.
Well, he's going to either take some damage...
Is it?
5 set or no, yeah. So if for some reason he trades into the Loatheb with the Drake, then it's lethal, but I don't see Neo doing that.
Yeah, it's only 17, right? 6, 12, plus 5. 17. There's no ping. So I think Neo's just going to end up trading into the 3-4 with the Drake and going face with the hero power. So he goes face with the hero power. Now he's just debating whether he wants to trade. I think you do trade because the only way you lose is Fireball. But Ooh. She might have already played one. She might have already played one, and he might know that.
Can't remember.
I'm not sure, but if he goes face there, I'm sure she already played a Fireball, and he's already thought of that.
Yeah, because that was literally the only way he loses, and somebody of his caliber definitely doesn't make that mistake. I don't think.
No. I'm pretty sure Fireball has already been played this gamer. Enough burn that you're comfortable going face there, because you also just want to win, too. I don't know. Would you win if you don't do the 4 damage there? Because your opponent would be at 23.
You have 22 next turn, so no, I guess not.
Yeah, so the other thing is, if you go face here and put your opponent on not having double Fireball, even if she, like, say she didn't play one, if she does have a second Fireball in her deck, she has another turn to draw it, because you don't kill her.
Yeah, that's a good point. It looks like his line's going to pay off here. It was pretty unlikely, I guess, that Fluffy did have double Fireball, so...
Yep, and we're going to see the Wombo combo coming out here from Neobility. The 22 burst damage straight to the dome is going to... He's going to take it 3-0 and be the Tuesday Night Hype number 55 champion.
Yeah, congrats to him. He played really well throughout the night. We saw him, I think, 3 times today, and every time he looked convincing. So, well played to him.
Yep, that is going to net him 3 World Championship points for... the upcoming winter regional.
Yeah, expect to see him do well there. I know you said he's a really good ladder player, and he does really well in the Strivewire tournaments as well, so it'd be nice to see him do well in a big tournament like a BlizzCon qualifier or something like that.
Yeah, I think he did... I'm not sure how he did at the last BlizzCon qualifier thing, but I know he had the bias today too. Either way, though, he ends up taking Tuesday Night Hype, and I'm sure we'll see him again.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be it from us. I don't think we'll have a winner's interview today. So thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday, and